The next moment, smoke is seen rising in front of Musashi Ten. Musashi Ten immediately takes action. He stands up with his sword and tells Jin Qinghan to be careful. He feels someone's presence there and shouts to ask who is there. He was slowly taking his steps back as he felt a lot of pressure. While feeling that pressure, he suddenly saw something that made his eyes widen. He was terrified as if he had seen his death. As the smoke clears, the Earth Demon, the Blood Demon, and the Nine Realms Demon, all three demons appear together. Seeing them, they are not at all sure how this can really happen. How can all three demons be present here? And they get very scared. Musashi Ten, knowing this, still stood in front of the demons. He was scared. But he still recognized his death. Jin Qinghan confirmed at the same time that these were three demons from the Nine Realms. But he was very confused when he saw them. How could this be possible? Standing in front of the three-man monster, Musashi Ten felt immense pressure. He couldn't even move his arms and legs. Jin Qinghan gently explained to Mos Ten that what was happening was not right. Jin Qinghan really felt that there was something wrong here, or how could three demons come together? But then a voice catches everyone's attention. Actually, our Lu Fan is standing in the back because the number of his puppets was decreasing. So, Lu Fan runs to save them. And he says, "I didn't expect you guys to be here." Hearing Lu Fan's voice, both Musashi Ten and Qinghan get serious because they have heard this voice before. And they didn't expect it to be him at all. And Qinghan was also Lu Fan's enemy, who already had a rivalry. Lu Fan smiles at them and says, "Good that you found this place so quickly." Qinghan looks at Lu Fan with disgust and comments, "Lu Fan you." Mos Ten also cannot resist and touches his sword and says, "Lu Fan, you are finally here." To which Lu Fan replies, "Don't be surprised. If I tell the truth, I have come here especially for you two. After all, you ambushed my carefully constructed base." He then starts telling them all that as I collected more and more puppets from the fallen bodies, and I became more and more skilled at controlling them, I was able to control all the puppets easily. And now I can command them to hunt down 9 region monsters from the peak, and I also have control of a whole army beside each 9 region monster. And for your information, for me, this is equivalent to 3 armies collecting points and experience. I can send these little soldiers at will. And with that, they stay to defend the Dark Peak. Musashi Ten opens the status window to check on Lu Fan's condition at the same time, and says, "You came here specifically for us, so it looks like you came here to die." And then he looks at Jin Qinghan and says, "Since Lu Fan has so many points, let's kill him quickly. Then we can discuss how we will divide the points." Musashi Ten was still living in this illusion. He was thinking according to the story told by Qinghan. That Lu Fan got so many points without any effort. He didn't know that he got these points after killing the demons of the 9 realms. Chen Guan looked at Musashi Ten and said, "Don't rush. You should know that this man has enmity with me. If we kill him too easily, it would be like letting him go too easily. It's easy to deal with Lu Fan, but it's not easy to deal with the demons of the 9 realms. Handling 1 would be difficult enough. Handling 3 is almost meaningless." So he dared to enter the peak alone and must have found a way to defeat the 9-person monsters without fighting. Qinghan was now feeling a bit scared and was thinking the same thing to himself. Until Lu Fan suddenly said, "It seems like you are not taking me seriously at all and discussing this topic in front of me. That you think you can kill me." Jin Qinghan smiles to himself and says, "I was still living in a dream world." And then he tries to scare Lu Fan. And he says, "Lu Fan, tell us the secret of the Dark Peak and we will spare your life." With that, he himself springs into action. Aunt Ten also immediately raises her hand and a divine light appears in her hand. And he even tries to intimidate Lu Fan and says, "Jin Qinghan, stop wasting words. Let's catch him first and interrogate him slowly." Lu Fan couldn't believe his actions at all. The two of them were not taking Lu Fan seriously at all. He sighs and says, "What kind of secret do you have? Do you really think I have any secret? Are you also relying on some part to cultivate the Dark Spire?" Jin Qinghan asks. "Okay, so tell me, what is your secret to earning so many points? Don't you have any idea?" On the way inside, We encountered 2 waves of gatekeeper beasts, and there was nothing inside. Musashi Tang also says, "You can't seriously think that everyone is stupid. Do you think a level 30 job changer like you can break through the Dark Spire? Do you really think so?" Lu Fan closes his eyes and says innocently, "Yeah, you're right." And then, who are those 3 9-realm demons behind you? As the 3 demons retreat, Jin Chanhan and Musashi start to feel the pressure once again. Their eyes widen and they try to turn back. Jin Chanhan turns back slightly and looks behind them, and thinks to himself, wait, the 9 people demons are so quiet. Something is wrong. Logically, the intruders here should have attacked by now, but they aren't. Why isn't this happening? Could it really be that they are already under Lu Fan's control? Thinking about it, I say, impossible. No one can control a 9 people demon so easily. He wasn't taking Lu Fan seriously at all. Lu Fan says, if there really was such a point cultivation method, wouldn't your Thai nation know about it? Finally, you can change the system quest to suit your needs. Chan Kan is shocked to hear Lu Fan's answer and says that even they have found out that we have tampered with the case. This is not right at all. We may have to face this in the future. If he really has control over the demons of the 9 realms, then this is not right at all. Musashi Ten is getting impatient, and he is trying to grab points by killing Lu Fan as quickly as possible. And he says, "Stop wasting words with him, just attack." Suddenly Musashi springs into action, and he says, "Stop wasting words with him and just attack." He puts on his crown and pounces on Lu Fan with the intention of attacking him. Jin Chanhan panics on seeing him as he is now scared. He is starting to think that it is possible that the 3 demons of the 3 people may be in Lu Fan's possession. Meanwhile, Musashi Ten now breaks his impatience and he moves forward to attack Lu Fan. He is very surprised to see this, because he was still thinking that this is possible. Lu Fan has subdued all these demons. Lu Fan comes on Instagram at the same time and assures to attack the demon of No Loco, and says, "This is analog. That you are not taking me from Nomo at all, and now their artist will remain a photographer only. What I wrote after hunting concrete with great effort, it was easily destroyed by your few words. Because you don't believe, but now I feel as if I have been given my own strength." As Musashi approaches Lu Fan with his swords, the 9-person demon appears behind Lu Fan and roars loudly. Musashi immediately stops upon seeing this. He doesn't understand what's going on. Jin Chanhan immediately tells him to run away if he wants to save his life. Musashi doesn't believe it and runs away, saying that it's impossible. Is this really a 9-person demon? And Lu Fan really has taken control of them. Cheng Han starts running away and says that it must be a bug because 9-realm wizards can't be controlled. This is impossible. And he thinks to himself that the test we worked so hard to create is now Lu Fan's property. And this is from our Taiki country. At the same time, 3 hell demons spring into action and surround Jin Cheng and Moses City Inn. They are really huge. Moses' tank looked like a mosquito in front of them. The 2 don't know what to do, and then at the same time use Death Call, which creates a pool using body and limbs to bind the enemy, making them unable to move. It also causes negative effects such as stiffness and unconsciousness. The damage is tearing off limbs, and the damage value is calculated linearly. As he goes to use this power, the Earth Demon hits them hard. They both fall to the ground. Jin Chanhan also falls to the ground screaming loudly, and he didn't know what to do now. He was very scared seeing the 9-person demon, and he just begged for mercy to let me go. And then he summoned his Abish Hunter at the same time. He plans to kill him. As soon as he appears, he starts targeting Cheng En. He starts trying to kill him. The 9 Realms demon uses blood claws at the same time. This power is considered very dangerous. It swings 5 blood claws to rip apart the target at high speed, causing great damage and increasing your own strength by 200% within 12 seconds. Cheng raises his hand seeing that blood claw and thinks to himself that it is very scary. Is this the power that can shake a country? My Abish Hunter was defeated in one go and couldn't resist it. And then he plans to attack once again. And he thinks in his mind that I want to get out of here, I don't want to die. And then he stands up. He feels proud of himself that I am the pride of the Taiki country and I cannot die so easily. As he tries to get up, the 9-limbed monster pins him to the ground with its claws, and blood starts to appear everywhere. On the other side, Luan was sitting in one place with all his dragons. And he says, I told you I haven't deceived you. Actually, all these monsters are under my control. I have worked hard to kill all the ferocious beasts. Then I was able to turn them into my puppets. Here Musashi was also fighting, and he was still firm, and he says I won't fall. I will fight until my last breath. I am the best player of the young generation of Sakara country. I can't die so easily. I am the powerful man of the future world. I can't die like this. And then he uses ghost breath at the same time. Its main power is that it releases a high-speed rotating air blood, which bites and physically damages enemies within the target range. As soon as he releases his ghost breath, the 9-person wizard immediately grabs him and knocks him down. Musa also gets caught in the attack and dies. Now only his hand is visible. And he says, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Luan at the same time opens the status window to see the situation and says, every single one of them claimed that they will become the future world's best player. And as a result, I haven't taken any action yet. I just summoned some beasts and they all killed him. Luan looked at his status window and was surprised to see that his points had not changed. Why didn't the points increase? He didn't understand that both of them had been killed, but their points had not yet been added to my points, nor had I received them. Suddenly Luan remembered that the last time he killed him, he resurrected by summoning animals. It seems that Moses C may have the same ability. That's why I didn't get points for this. Although had killed Jin Chenghin once, this person's profession characteristics were truly extraordinary. Trying to kill him permanently would not be possible at the moment. In fact, finding a method to permanently kill Jin Chenghin in the National Trial's secret realm was truly a headache-inducing problem. After thinking it over, Luan decided not to waste more energy on it. If I can't kill him now, so be it. I'll just kill him whenever we meet. Even if he can revive, the pain is unavoidable. Luan used the fallen corpse magic dragon to order the demon knights back to guard the dark castle, preventing any more raids. Soon, he left the dark castle again to continue searching for mission scrolls. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the national trial, a hand reached out from underground, raising dust. Jin Chenghin and Musashi Ten pushed aside the soil covering them, emerging from underground in an extremely sorry state, covered in nauseating fluid. After climbing out, they could see the shrunken head of an abyss entangler below the ground, which was slowly losing its life essence. They both revived, and they sat on the ground, breathing heavily. Looking at his hands while panting, Musashi Ten said in disbelief, I really died. Musashi Ten was shocked and said, This is really amazing, Jin-san. Your professional attributes are truly extraordinary. When you said you could help me revive, I was skeptical, but now I must believe it. With such a powerful skill, aren't you invincible? Jin Chenghin says, stammering his words upon hearing this. Don't be too excited. Jin Chenghin still hadn't recovered from the shock from before, his eyes filled with fear. Although my skill can revive us, activating this skill depletes life essence. In the outside world, life essence can still be collected by hunting demons and humans. But the demons in the secret realm and dungeon instances do not have life essence. Without being able to replenish life essence, the number of times we can die and be resurrected is limited. Although I prepared and accumulated quite a bit of life essence before entering the national trial, which was enough for us to handle various situations in the secret realm, but at this point, Jin Chenghin seemed to remember everything that had just happened, his face filled with helpless anger. No matter how many chances we get, no matter how many times we can be resurrected, it's useless against him. You saw everything just now, right? Who knows what methods Luan used? He actually even enslaved a boss like the Demon General. With the Demon General, we can't compete with him. This is the worst case scenario. Not only is he ranked first, but even if I use an ultimate mission scroll and target him, we still can't beat him. How can we surpass him in points like this? At this, Jin Chenghin heaved a long sigh. Jin Chenghin's words silenced Musashi Ten as well. After a long while, Jin Chenghin regained some composure and gritted his teeth. Now is not the time to give up. The national trials haven't ended yet. I can't give up like this, Musashi Ten asked. So, what are you planning to do? After thinking, Jin Chenghin said, Let's find another dark castle and see if it really is what Lu Fan said, whether the demon army is really inside. That's probably how he earned so many points. In that case, let's try to earn as many points as possible. With my Abyss Symbiosis skill, we definitely won't die in the secret area, so we don't have to worry too much about our safety. If we earn more points, we can help our countries gain more resources when it comes time for the final calculation. Yes, that makes sense. Musashi Ten agreed and was about to stand up, but just as he got to his feet, he fell down again. He was startled, then asked confused, Jin-san, why do I feel like I have no strength at all? Jin Chenghin looked at him and explained, After just being revived, your attributes need time to recover. After about 10 minutes, when your attributes return to normal, everything will be fine. Oh, I see. That's a relief. Musashi Ten nodded. At that moment, however, a whistling sound suddenly rang through the air. Before Jin Chenghin and Musashi Ten could react, a giant hammer engulfed in flames descended from above and smashed Musashi Ten's head hard. His 4 attributes had not yet been raised. After recovering, how could Musashi Ten withstand such an attack? Before he could comprehend what was happening, his body disintegrated, dying again. Seeing this, Jin Chenghin was stunned at first. Then looking at Musashi Ten's attacker, he cursed his extreme misfortune. They had just been revived, only to bump into another country's representative. What was worse was that this was no ordinary representative, but the representative of Feather Country, who he had clashed with before. Andre lightly kicked the hammer's head, and the huge hammer returned to his shoulder. He held the hammer's handle in one hand, and his face showed pleasant surprise. Well, what do we have here? What a lucky day. Before it was time to eat, someone delivered the points right to my door. Let me see who it is. Isn't this Jin Chenghin, the representative of the extremist country? What are you doing here? You want to play whack-a-mole with me? Saying this, Andre's eyes narrowed, clearly remembering what had happened between them before. If I remember correctly, didn't we tell each other not to meet in the secret realm? What would happen if we met? The muscles on Jin Chenghin's face twitched violently. If he hadn't fully recovered with his attributes yet, he would naturally not be afraid of Andre. In the worst case, they would simply fight. But now, he was as fragile as a newborn baby. Meeting Andre was only giving him points. How could he be so unlucky today? Getting killed by Lu Fan was one thing, but after being revived, running into Andre, of all people, Jin Chenghin was almost crazy. But before he could say anything, he saw Andre swing his war hammer at him. If you want to play whack-a-mole, I'll play with you. Asterisk bang, asterisk. A moment later, Andre looked at the 2 broken corpses on the ground and said in confusion, Strange, I killed them both, yet I didn't get any points. After that, soon, half a month passed. The excitement of the national trials never faded, with every fluctuation in points and rankings causing heated discussions among citizens domestically and internationally. This year's national trials were quite different from previous years. In previous years, representatives from Dragon Country, Feather Country, and Star Stripe Country chased each other for the top 3 spots in the rankings, changing positions almost every day, leaving everyone puzzled. Sometimes, representatives from smaller countries would unexpectedly overtake and join the top 3. However, this year was creating a situation that had never happened before. Eventually, Lu Fan single-handedly dominated the first place with an iron fist. For more than half a month, Lu Fan led with over 7 million points. His first place was now unshakable. No one knew how Lu Fan obtained so many points. In previous years, when the national trials ended, the first place would still only have 1 million points. But Lu Fan had completely broken that record, more than 7 times. The voices questioning Lu Fan's methods in the extremist country never stopped. However, no one had any evidence to prove that Lu Fan had cheated to get so many points. So, even though the people in the extremist country protested, they could not stop the national trials from continuing. Apart from Lu Fan in first place, the others had far more points than usual. Charles ranked second with 720k points, Andre ranked third with 680k points, Jin Chenghen ranked fourth with 510k points, Musashi 10 ranked fifth with 460k points. After half a month, only 10 of the 23 country representatives remained. The rest were either killed by demons or hunted down by representatives from other countries. Otherwise, they reduced their points to 0 for self-preservation and quickly withdrew. This year's national trial was undoubtedly the one with the most casualties. During this period, many representatives from smaller countries had repeatedly requested for the trial to be ended, but their requests were not granted. In fact, Lu Fan did not know whether others approved this request or not, but he had rejected all such attempts to end the trial prematurely. Although Lu Fan was already first, he still wanted to gain as many points as possible to secure more resources for the Dragon Country. At the same time, the crazy Hell Demon revived and stood next to the other 8 Hell Demons. Lu Fan descended from the fallen corpse Magic Dragon and now looked at the entire group of 9 Hell Demons and the countless demons that formed the demon army, feeling excited. As for Lu Fan, he was sitting on the throne in this dark castle, starting to count his gains over the past half-month. Apart from the 9 demon armies, Lu Fan's biggest gain was his level increase. He had now reached level 41. Xiao Yi had reached level 38, while Xiao Qi and Jing Chen were at level 35 and 29 respectively. After reaching level 35, Xiao Qi had entered his maturity period and could be ridden, but Lu Fan was not very interested in riding him. Firstly, Xiao Qi was too young. Riding on him would not make him look as impressive as when he rode on Xiao Yi. Secondly, Xiao Qi was a support expert dragon. Riding on him would hardly increase his combat effectiveness. Lu Fan was now just waiting for Jing Chen to grow up. Thinking of riding on Jing Chen in starlight form, sharing hundreds of thousands of points in physical attribute, was making Lu Fan excited. It should be noted that Xiao Qi had also learned a new skill when he entered his maturity period dragon domain. When Lu Fan saw this skill, his eyes lit up. He felt that this skill had come at the perfect time. Dragon domain pulls units within a certain range into the dragon domain. Within the domain, all units with dragon bloodline have their attributes increased by 50%, while non-dragon bloodline units are affected by dragon pressure, reducing their attributes by 50%. This effect ignores resistance. The dragon domain is also completely isolated from the outside world, preventing any teleportation, summoning, or other outside interactions. Worthy of a skill that Xiao Qi can only unlock after she entered her maturing period. It is incredibly powerful. First, as always, it provides attribute enhancement, allowing Lu Fan and his pet dragons to increase their attributes by 50%. Second, it forcefully reduces the opponent's attributes by 50%. With this buff and debuff, even against opponents with double Lu Fan's attributes, once they get pulled into the dragon domain, Lu Fan could easily surpass them in terms of attributes. Furthermore, what excited Lu Fan most was the skill's final function. After careful consideration, Lu Fan understood the implications of this skill. Essentially, the skill could pull enemies into an independent space. In this space, enemies could not summon their summons. Since summons were transported from other subspaces, and the dragon domain was isolated from all other spaces, summons naturally could not be called upon. Later, Lu Fan experimented and found that within the dragon domain, he indeed could not let either fallen corpse magic dragon open up their puppet's subspace. However, he could freely summon his other pet dragons, likely because the dragon domain space was where the dragons reside in, so summoning his pet dragons was not restricted. This makes Lu Fan essentially a nightmare for summoner-type professions. Once pulled into the dragon domain, they would not be able to summon their pets or summons. This would completely nullify their profession. Through testing, Lu Fan discovered that while this skill could pull himself and his opponents into the dragon domain, both parties could not move freely within it. The movable space was not particularly large or small, about the size of a soccer field, providing enough room for combat, but not enough room for massive maneuvers. Lu Fan's hope of searching for dragon eggs in the dragon domain naturally could not be realized. Nevertheless, this skill had already given Lu Fan more than enough pleasant surprises. The reason Lu Fan felt this skill came too late was because he suspected that if teleportation and summoning were impossible within the dragon domain, would that not mean Jin Chenghen's revival skill would also be unusable? After death, Jin Chenghen could revive through his other abyss summons, which was essentially similar to teleportation and summoning. If Jin Chenghen got pulled into the dragon domain, it should be possible to truly kill him. After understanding this, Lu Fan had been constantly thinking about when he might encounter Jin Chenghen again, wishing for it even. Unfortunately, the National Trial's secret realm was too vast, and Lu Fan had not encountered representatives from other countries for a while. Only 2 representatives from small countries were killed by hell demons while they were out hunting, which resulted in Lu Fan getting their points. What Lu Fan was counting on was using mission scrolls to locate Jin Chenghen's position. Just as Lu Fan finished handling everything in the Dark Castle and prepared to continue searching for mission scrolls, the information above his head suddenly changed. Above his head appeared a bloody dagger, clearly the mark of being him hunted. Oh, someone's hunting me? Lu Fan was startled, but then quickly understood. Seems like another large amount of points would soon be added to my name. Lu Fan was not interested in passively waiting for the other party to come. He simply ignored the mission and continued flying away from the Dark Castle, searching for mission scrolls to hunt down representatives. After all, if they come, he would just kill them. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the map, a purple mission scroll vanished into nothing, and above the head of a young man wearing a milky white mage robe, carrying a huge cross on his back, appeared mission information written in blood. Hunt the first ranked on the points leaderboard Dragon Country representative, Lu Fan. So this is the ultimate mission scroll? Interesting. Charles looked at the mission information above his head and smiled. His appearance could be considered handsome. However, rather than handsome, it was more apt to call it beautiful. He carried an indescribable holy aura that made his face appear like that of an angel, like a beautiful work of art. Combined with his milky white mage robe, anyone would think he was a priest. Moreover, one who had truly carved his profession characteristics into his bones. However, this person naturally was not as simple as he appeared on the surface. This point could be seen from the wary expressions of Jin Chenghen and Musashi Ten beside him. The location of the ultimate mission scroll was inside a level 70 platinum grade boss, a magma giant. Only by killing this boss and searching carefully inside the magma giant's body could one find it. Just now, Jin Chenghen and Musashi Ten had witnessed with their own eyes how Charles killed this boss. The power Charles displayed left both of them shocked. Originally, they thought that working together, defeating T0 players like Charles and Andre should not be difficult. However, after personally seeing Charles in action, both realized their mistake. Charles's strength was clearly beyond what the information they had on him showed. After changing from Battle Priest to Holy Saint, Charles's strength had practically doubled, leaving Andre far behind. This person was truly in a league of his own in the national trial. The only one who might be able to match him was Lu Fan, whose true strength remained unknown. Jin Chenghen glanced at the shattered remains of the magma giant nearby, unconsciously gulping. Nevertheless, he still gathered his courage to step forward and ask very respectfully, "Mr. Charles, now that we've helped you find the mission scroll, can you really kill Lu Fan and take all his points?" Charles glanced at Jin Chenghen and nodded. "Of course. Otherwise, why would I accept this mission?" Though Musashi Ten was shocked by Charles's strength, thinking of the demon general under Lu Fan's command, and the possibility that his points really came from soloing the Dark Castles, he still felt that counting on Charles to successfully kill Lu Fan and seize his points might not work. So, Musashi Ten volunteered. Lu Fan is someone who soloed Dark Castles. According to him, besides being able to summon the demon general, he can even summon the 9 hell demons. Although this sounds like boasting, if it's true, then even if the 3 of us work together, we might not be a match for Lu Fan. Solo the Dark Castle. Charles smiled, seemingly unconvinced, and said, "Actually, I can do that too." What? Musashi Ten's eyes immediately widened. He looked at Charles's points, thinking that if Charles could really solo a Dark Castle, he would not have such few points. Obviously, Charles's points all came from missions and monsters. He definitely had not soloed a dark castle. Seeing Musashi Ten's expression, Charles naturally knew he did not believe him. However, Charles was not angry at all. He just smiled faintly with a holy aura around him. Soloing the Dark Castle isn't actually the Dragon Country representative's own ability. He was able to do it because he borrowed an external power. External power? What do you mean? Jin Chengyan was very curious. Charles smiled and said, "In 3 minutes, I'll tell you the answer." Jin Chengyan and Musashi Ten were confused, but then realized Charles probably wanted to reveal some big secret without letting the Cherry Blossom Country and Extremistes countries delegates hear it.